Before we start drawing, I want to talk about the options that we have in Procreate as tools. And we have two top menus, one on the left and one on the right, and a sidebar that contains two sliders which are used for brushes, and a color selector and the possibility of undo and redo, of course, for when we regret an action. In the same way, we have a finger called smudge, which is a blurred or stained finger, and an eraser. The smudge and eraser tools work in the same way as brush. We have the same categories to use these three tools. They have the exact same categories, and then we have a layers icon when we create a new canvas by default. Procreate generates a new layer on a colored background. The default background is white. If we want to modify this background color, we just click on it and we access the color wheel where we can modify colors. And finally, we have the upper right end where the color wheel is located. Where we can select the color we want, we can select the color variant we want, and then its saturation and brightness through the inner wheel. In the outer wheel, we generate the color, we generate here the luminosity of it. The color wheel has various forms of organization. It can be through the circular form, or we can use the representation square. Here we can select the luminosity, saturation, tone. Then we have an option for values, HSV values and RGB values. We also have the possibility of a hexadecimal value. And finally, we have the palettes. We can generate new palettes, and Procreate has 3 default palettes. We can generate new palettes for the new canvases that we want to work. And as I told you, the sidebar contains 2 sliders, and these are the regulators of different variables, like the thickness of the brush. In this case, to look a little better, we're going to search for an inking brush. This brush has an amazing stroke. I have the possibility to enlarge it. And the lower slider gives me the possibility to make the stroke more or less opaque. In the case of inking, those possibilities do not become absolute. Here we're going to erase some lines. We can try with another type of brush. We see that the opacity can really be appreciated. You notice the change in opacity. And these relative sizes also vary according to the brush we use. If, for example, we use a sketch brush, like in this case, the HD pencil will give us a stroke that no matter how hard we calibrate it, it will continue to be a fine line since it is an HD pencil. Anyway, also in the gallery library we see that we have categories, and in each category we have different brushes. But also if we touch on them, it leads us to more options where we can also modify. Size, in this case, I am interested in the HV pencil being a thin pencil, because that is its purpose, but it gives us the possibility to use this pencil to a larger size than normal. And we can do this without problems. Let's erase all these horrible things. So basically, these are the tools. Now let's start drawing. And from that drawing, we will go over all the Procreate options to see this wonderful app in a more didactic way. Let's start.